Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a concept that is, no joke, one of the most important things for understanding how a business really works. I'm talking about the cash conversion cycle. Okay, so what in the world is the cash conversion cycle? Well, here's the official textbook definition. It's a metric that shows the time it takes for a company to turn its investments, inventory and stuff, into actual cash from sales. Yeah? Make perfect sense? Probably not, right? It's a bit of a mouthful. So let's just toss that textbook definition aside for a minute. We're going to break this down with a super simple story instead. Okay, so let me introduce you to our hero for today, an entrepreneur named Chandu. We're going to follow the journey of his cash as he starts a biscuit-making business. And by looking at two very different scenarios, this whole complicated concept is going to become crystal clear, I promise. All right, scenario number one. Chandu's ready to go. But to make biscuits, what does he need? Wheat. So he goes to his supplier, and the supplier says, sure, but I need the cash up front. So right there, on day one, before a single biscuit has even been baked, Chandu's cash is already out the door. Now this is where it gets really interesting. Let's map out his cash journey. On day one, boom, cash is gone, paid for the wheat. Now, it takes him about 15 days to bake everything, package it all up, and sell his biscuits to a wholesaler. But the wholesaler doesn't pay him right away. They say, hey, we'll pay you in 15 days. So Chandu has to wait and wait. That money, his money, doesn't actually hit his bank account until day 30. So think about that. For a full 30 days, his hard-earned money was completely trapped. It wasn't in his pocket, it wasn't in his bank, it was tied up in the business. And that 30-day period, that is his cash conversion cycle. Simple as that. Okay, now for scenario two. We're going to keep everything else exactly the same. The time to bake, the time his customer takes to pay him, all of it. But we're going to change just one little thing, one negotiation, and you're going to see how it completely flips the script for his business. So here's the big change. Chandu's been a good customer, right? He goes back to his wheat supplier and says, hey, can we work something out? And he negotiates a much better deal. Now, instead of paying on day one, the supplier gives him 45 days of credit. Get this, he gets the wheat today, but he doesn't have to pay for it for a month and a half. So what does this do? Let's do the math. Remember, he gets paid by his customer on day 30. But he doesn't have to pay his own supplier until day 45. That means for 15 whole days, he's got his customer's cash sitting in his bank account before his own bill is even due. His cash conversion cycle is now a negative 15. He literally has surplus cash. Now, this massive swing from a positive 30 to a negative 15, it's not some kind of financial wizardry. It all comes down to a really straightforward formula. All right, so let's crack the code. To really get the cash conversion cycle, you just need to understand three key ingredients. These are the building blocks. First up is something called inventory days. It's basically just how long does it take you to turn your raw materials into something you've sold. For Chandu, that was the 15 days it took to go from a bag of wheat to a box of sold biscuits. Next, we've got debtor days. You might also hear this called days sales outstanding. All this means is how long do you have to wait for your customers to actually pay you after you've made the sale. In Chandu's case, that was the 15-day credit he gave to the wholesaler. And finally, the third piece, days payable. This is the big one. It's the amount of time your suppliers give you to pay them. This was the total game changer for Chandu, right? In scenario one, it was 0. But in scenario two, it was a beautiful 45 days. And here's how it all comes together in one simple formula. You take your inventory days, you add your debtor days, because that's all the time your cash is tied up, and then you subtract your days payables. That's the time your supplier's basically bankrolling your operation. And what's left? That's your cash conversion cycle. It really is that simple. Okay, so we've got the theory down cold with Chandu's biscuit business. Now let's take this idea and apply it to the real world. How do massive public companies stack up? So let's look at two giants in a similar industry in India, ITC and Britannia. And just look at these numbers. ITC has a cash conversion cycle of 129 days. Britannia, get this, it's -4. Seeing it as a bar chart just makes the difference pop even more. I mean, ITC has its cash locked up for more than 4 months, every single time it produces something. Meanwhile, Britannia is basically running its business on its suppliers' money. It is an unbelievably efficient machine. And that really is the bottom line here. Before this explainer, you might see a minus sign next to a number and think, oh, that's bad. But not here. In the world of the cash conversion cycle, negative is the goal. It's a huge sign of a super healthy, super efficient company that's swimming in extra cash. So why should any of this matter to you? I mean, whether you're an investor, an entrepreneur thinking about starting something, or you're just curious about how the business world really ticks, why is this number so important? Okay, let's boil it all down. Here's what you absolutely need to remember. 1. Lower is always better. The shorter the cycle, the faster you get your cash back. 2. Negative is the absolute best. It means you get paid before you have to pay your own bills. 3. This number is a massive indicator of how well a company is run. And 4, it tells you a lot about how much power a company has over its suppliers and customers. So I'll leave you with a little puzzle to think about. Which business do you think has a lower cash conversion cycle? A supermarket or an aircraft manufacturer? Just think about their inventory, who their customers are, and their relationship with suppliers. Once you start thinking that way, you'll see this incredibly powerful concept applies to literally any business on the planet.